Hello everybody, welcome to Making It Monday. I hope you've had a good weekend. Yes, you must have had a good weekend. Weekends have got to be good, unless of course you're on shift work and you worked all weekend. But I used to do that, so I totally sympathise. But of course, if you have worked weekends, of course, then you will have time off in the week. Hopefully. Yes, so welcome to Making It Monday. I'm just having a look. There's lots of people already, my goodness me. We've got Karen on YouTube, we've got Christine and Kathy and Carol, another Carol, different Carol. We've got Diane as well. We've also got Shirley and Jackie too. Lots and lots of people. Yes, good evening to you all. Leanna as well on YouTube. It's lovely to see you. It's always great. It's lovely that I can see all the comments and names as well. It's always fun. I'm relying on my sound being okay because we've had technical problems in the past. Hopefully it's all in the past, and hopefully tonight will be fine. Now this is all about Making It Monday. If you've never come across Making It Monday before, we've probably been going now for 2 years. We had a little break over the Christmas period on the first year because I didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know what it was going to be like. It was kind of an experiment, and so we had a little break, but then of course we started up again. What would it be? Wait a minute, 22? Yes, early 21? I don't know, I've lost track. Yeah, so I was just asking the team there that we're close to 100 Making It Monday projects, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think what we've decided is that next week will be 100. If it's not this week, somebody is typing to me now. Nicola's typing, telling me what's going on. I like that. They're on it. I shall wait until she tells me. But yeah, we're close to 100, and that's because we've had time off because of bank holidays and things like New Year's and Christmases and Easters. And I think the last day off was, of course, well, gosh, it was last Monday, wasn't it? I'm forgetting. I'm thinking, when was it? It was only last Monday because that was Halloween. And okay, I'm just reading the message from Nicola. So I think what? Nicola says there's 101. Well, let's call it 100. So yeah, we've had 100 Making It Monday projects. 100. That's amazing. We should actually have a telegram from King Charles, shouldn't we? We've reached 100. That's amazing. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased that we've got an answer. I'll put my phone away now, because I'm assuming the sound is all right, because that was the other thing that was a bit worrying me about the sound. Yes, so before I forget, don't forget to go and download your Memory Poppy. That is also a Making It Monday project, which our Gemma Joy designed last year, and it's on the website. It will be on there until probably the weekend, and then I'll take it off again until next year, or we'll design another one. So yeah, don't forget to go and download it, because actually I only want your money. It's like I say about Children in Need Bears. I only want your money, really. I don't mind if you don't make it. So instead of sending me a donation via PayPal to send to the Royal British Legion, just buy one of the Poppy Making It Monday project, and I'll donate that money to the Royal British Legion. Yeah, so that's what it's all about. Tonight, however, is week 1 of November, and it's Frosty. There we are. So hopefully you've seen Frosty, hence the snowflake on my top there. I think I'll be wearing this all of November now because it seems to fit. And so project 1. So now don't forget, there's 2 very important things here. Firstly, if you bought the digital pass for November, you will get 4 patterns for £3. I wonder, you know that chap that used to do Bullseye? Was it Bullseye? And he used to go, or was it Dusty Bin? and he used to do 3, 2, 1 with his fingers. I could never do it. I could never do it. So yeah, so you'll get 4 patterns for £3 if you get the digital pass for November. If you join my gold group today, for instance, you have 14 days free, which means that you'll get the 2 gold patterns, which are the most amazing bags, and useful, practical, fairly easy to do, I have to say. But you'll also get 3 Making It Monday patterns as well, because you'll get today's, you'll get next week's, and you'll get the week after. So that's 3, plus you'll get Kath's Mid-Month Madness pattern next week. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But also you get the camaraderie of being a gold member, which is fantastic. Right, so Frosty, here we go, Frosty, which of course is behind me. I better get it down. Here we go. There we go. There it is. And I did a little video earlier on my website under Lizzy TV, which is right down the bottom of the home page. I relegated it down to the bottom. And I did a little video on Frosty, talked a bit more about it, talked about why we've got a patch on the back, and we'll talk about that as I go along. And it's actually, I tell you, what's made the difference is that there's a little 12-inch sort of cushion pad in here, and it is a super soft one. I don't know quite what the difference is between this and others. It wasn't necessarily super cheap, so maybe that's the difference. But it's very, very squidgy, very, very soft. It's like cuddling your best favouriteest bear, except it's not a bear. It's a cushion. But the fabric, of course, is flannelette. And those that are in the know what flannelette is like. It is super soft, warm, cuddly fabrics. Now, of course, I get my flannelette from Kim Porter. If you don't know who Kim Porter is, the link is actually in the pattern. Yes, we put a link in there. So if you open it up on the PDF, oh, you just counted manually, 101. Thanks, Kath. If you buy the pattern, the links to where I got my fabric from is on there. And the back is fleece, and it's not fleece like regular fleece, I don't think. This came from a factory. I bought a box of white offcuts of different textures. There's all sorts in this box. It's actually very useful, and I dig into it from time to time, and it has this kind of fleece in there. Like, I think it's like a polar fleece. And because it's fleece, it doesn't fray, a bit like the flannelette. You don't really need to do a double turnover, but we will. And well, I'll tell you the story about the patch as we go along. And there's a little heart in the middle, can you see? I'm sorry about my ribbon. It does want to keep twisting. It's very naughty. It's a bit wonky. Yours will be better, I'm sure. It's got a little applique heart in the middle. Now, just to save a bit of time, because this snipping does take a while, okay? And anybody that's made my flossy quilt will know how much snipping is involved with fleece, doing it this way. But it is worth it. It is worth it, because I did think about doing a regular seam round the outside, but it would not have looked the same. I can't even tell you how it would look, but it would look boring. So it needs to be snipped, okay? And I've done a lot of snipping already, because you don't want to watch me snip. It'd take more than an hour. So there we are. So there's Frosty. Of course, you can do it in any colour you like. I nearly did it in pink. And I thought, no, we're doing Frosty. So we'll stick with the blue. Let's just pop her up like that. There we go. She looks cool, doesn't she? Cool, Frosty. It's a joke a minute. Good. So we will start. Okay. So if you've got the pattern, you know what you're doing. You know what you're supposed to have cut. Like I say, it's a very easy pattern. I'm not going to be honest with them. It is an easy pattern, but of course it's lovely to be able to follow it, and sew along, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Right, let's pop you on the overhead and see if we can do this. There we go. So there's my mat. So I've got all my pieces already cut apart from my heart, and I wanted to do a heart right in the with the flower right in the centre like that. So I will cut that when we get to it, which we're not far off, I'll be honest. Now what I've done for Diana and who else all the stitches at the same time? Gosh, I've forgotten. I've already done these little bits. You'll have to tell me who's who normally stitches along with me. I know it's Diana. Anyway, so I've stitched this row of 3. Okay, and I've already cut in, can you see, I've already cut into this bottom row here. Oh, Diana, there we are. Going to try and keep up, have cut out my pieces. We've got a lot of snipping to do, Diana, so start stitching. So I've snipped along there already. Now I want you to notice something. This was a really scrappy piece that I found, but I love the tartany look, the check, and you can see it's not cut perfectly square. That really you can see. But oh, Marge, that's right, thank you, Kath. But by the time you've stitched this, it won't matter. It really won't matter that this is a little bit wonky. And I really want to, you can see even following the line of the check that it's wonky, but it doesn't matter. Now, my top tip is to stitch then cut. Because when you cut, you can go up to your stitch line and you've got a visual. I haven't, because I'm trying to save a bit of time. So I've cut mine already. I haven't cut my heart, but I've cut these already, and obviously not the outside edge, because we'll have 2 layers to do them. And I may well have gone over the 1/4 inch line, because I've just literally gone along and snipped. So that would give you a weakness. If the other thing, of course, is that when you stitch, you make sure that you catch all those snips into the seam allowance. That's the only other thing. So that's just my top tip. It needs to be fluffed, and I can honestly say the best thing you can do is to put this on a hot wash and make it even more scruffy, because that's what it's all about, soft and cuddly. I've got my 3 squares there to stitch together, and I've done these 3 squares at the bottom, okay? They are in some sort of order. We've got diagonals going on and those. Horizontals maybe, but we've got the stripes, and I've got a spare bit of the check. So I've kind of got a pattern. But that is the last of my blue flannelette. I've got a really big pile of pink, but you know what, I decided to go for the blue, and I'm going to put my heart, as I said, in the middle. So I've stitched this, I've stitched that, so I'm going to stitch the middle one. Now once I've stitched that together, I'm going to cut my heart out. Now I've given you a template, but you might want that heart smaller. For instance, I'm not going to use a template, I'm just going to cut it. But I figured I ought to give you a template, really. So just be guided by that. And also, if you find your template too big, you know, do cut it down. Do cut it down so it fits nicely. But I found that if you stitch your 3 together, then put your heart on, you can judge whether it's going to fit nicely. That's my rationale behind that. So I'm going to start putting these squares together. Let's just put you on the side camera, just so you can see what we're up to. Just try and get rid of the mouse. It's always in the way, that mouse. Let's bring the machine in. Oh, did you notice my little friend? I don't know if you see my little friend there. There we are, it's on a chair, that's the noise. That's our December baby bear. Don't forget, I'm doing a live on this page on Friday at 7 o'clock, making up baby bear. Okay, so if you want to join in, you have to buy a ticket for the event, and that money is going to children in need as well. So I've got my fluorescent tape on. That's my 1/4 inch mark. Yeah, I need it, quite honestly. So I'm going to stitch those middle 3 together. So don't forget, you're doing wrong side to wrong side. Okay, it always feels a bit strange when you do that, because we're just not used to it, are we? So wrong side to wrong side, and you're going to do a 1/4 inch. Don't forget, switch the machine on, Lizzie. That's always a good idea. Don't forget you're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. If you've pre-cut, then do watch where you've cut. Don't worry at all about back stitching or neatening off your stitches here at all, you know, your threads. I would literally just trim them back, because all of this is going to be fluffed. All of this is going to be fluffed. And quite honestly, if you've got a couple of threads, you're not going to see them, okay? So I don't want you to get too wound up about cutting your threads. So there's the first 2 squares put together. Let's go and try and do it so you can see it. So now we're going to put the third one on. So don't forget, we're doing so wrong side to wrong side, okay? Wrong side to wrong side. So your little mantra when you're stitching these together. Now the only time the seam allowance changes, I must remind you and myself about this, because you know what, we get carried away and then we forget. The outside seam allowance is 1/2 inch, okay, 1/2 inch. We want it to be a nice squidgy cushion, and by doing 1/2 inch it does make a difference. So there we are. So there's the 3 pieces put together. Dead easy, isn't it? So now what we're going to do is cut out the heart, and we're going to stitch the heart on. Now I'm not going to do free motion, I'm just going to stitch with my regular machine, you know, with my regular foot, with my feed dogs up, all that sort of thing. But we're going to take the stitch length down to, well, probably 2, if not smaller. Oh, Jackie says her tape has arrived. Makes a huge, look at that. I mean, it makes a huge difference, Jackie. And I think as we, you know, get that little bit, well, I don't want to keep harping on about age, but when we get a little bit older, our sight does get worse. And I remember my mum always saying that, and I used to say to her, oh, don't be daft, you're all right. And she'd be saying, no, I'm not. And I'm thinking exactly the same now. So look, what I'm doing, I want that little flower to be in the middle. So I'm folding, and you'll see this in the pattern, I'm folding my heart, or the fabric to make the heart. I'm folding it so my little rose is pretty much in the middle. Now if you wanted to, if you're not feeling brave, let's find a heat erasable, which of course I can't find. Well, let's just do it with a pencil. What you could do is draw, heat erasable's best, guys. I wonder where it is. Things just disappear in this place. And Abigail hasn't even been here. Is draw your heart as best you can. You know, just go for a 1/2 heart, like that. You can see that, can't you? And if we open that up, I think you'd be able to see roughly that's where we're going to go. That's a lot smaller than original one, but now I've done it with pencil, we've got to go with it, haven't we? So, and this will be much smaller than the one that's in the pattern, so bear that in mind. So let's just snip into that. So, you know, horses for courses. You might want it big or smaller or not at all. Yeah, don't forget, you don't have to have a heart. Oh, look at that. That's so cute. That's so cute. So let's see what it looks like on the patches. So that's okay, isn't it? I'm okay with that. Apart from the fact I've got pencil lead going all the way around there. We're going to snip this before we put it on, only because, even though that's the opposite to what I've just told you, doing snipping a curve once it's stitched on is not so easy. So it's easier to snip, and then, because this is just applique, okay? This isn't structural like this, so it's okay to snip this. And if you do happen to have a cut line where your stitch is, I don't want you to worry about it, okay? The other thing is, fold your heart in half again, and do this with ease if you want. You'll see what I mean in a sec. Fold it in half, just snip into the point, and then it'll lay a little bit flatter. And then start working your way around. About 1/4 inch in, less if you want, be brave. You really want a really good pair of scissors. You cannot beat Karen K. Buckley, but if you've got a pair of scissors that snip right to the end, as good as these, then get them out and use them. They are amazing. I'll tell you what, the other pair is good as well, if I can find them. No, is it there? No. Oh, I'll just get them because they are very good. These are, I don't know if they've still got them, but these are scissors from Crafter's Companion, and they've got a, actually I don't think they've got a serrated edge, but these are incredibly sharp scissors, and again, and they're bigger to hold. Can you hear? Let me take it to the mic. I mean, that's a snip, isn't it? That is a snip. I'll take it back now. And they are excellent. I think they're Japanese, to be honest, because they're so good. There we go. And just snip into the fold. And then what you've got then is a lovely, lovely, roughly edged heart. So we're going to put it in the middle and we're going to stitch that on before we stitch those 3 together. Okay, so just pin in the middle. If you get anywhere near this when you're stitching, then you must take it out. Use smaller pins if you want to. Dressmaking pins are ideal, just so you don't catch on your machine. And we're just going to stitch around here, but take your stitch length down to about 2. Oh, Leslie says, love snippy scissor sounds. Nicola says she bought those when she made Flossie. They are brilliant scissors. Diana says, snip slowly. Okay, Diana, do you want to let us into something here? Do you want to make a confession? I have a sneaky suspicion you might have snipped a piece out. Don't worry, I have to say, if that happens, let me take my stitch length down. If that happens, you mustn't worry, because you've got the other fabric the other side. There's always 2 sides to the seam, isn't there? So you mustn't worry. Okay, so I've got a little tiny foot on here, and I'm way away from the head of my pin. So I'm just going to start stitching around. And because it's a little stitch length, it means that it's not going to leap its way around my piece. It's quite controlled, so I can move my piece around, and it goes around curves much easier. And just take your time. If you stitch with the, the automatic stitch, what's it called, the stop start button, then a smaller stitch is ideal. And just take your time as you go around. You won't ever see me rushing a curve. And I'll just take that pin out, and actually I could take that one out. And just follow your way round, get to the point, give yourself a nice point. So really make a proper V. Don't be tempted to do anything else but. And then just follow it round. Couple of stitches every time we get to a nice curve, and just finish it. And just when you finish, just go over the first couple of 3 stitches, break your threads, okay? And that way your heart will be stitched on beautifully, like that. Okay, and because we've snipped the edges, that will fluff up. Is that a special foot, Emma? Well, it's the Juki foot, you see. It's actually the zipper foot for the Juki. It isn't special, in as much that it's, but it's special, obviously, to Juki. I'm not going to undo it. You ask Kath, because we've never seen a foot as small as this. The width is probably, well, I'll measure it. It's probably, I can say it's less than 1/4 inch, but it is a 1/4 inch across the whole foot. But I don't know, see, Kath will perhaps agree with me or not, but I keep mine on pretty much all the time because it actually copes with everything. Okay, so now we're going to put our rows together. So I'm sorry I did that without even thinking of what I was doing. I should show you. So don't forget, wrong sides together, wrong sides together. So there we are, there's our 9, there's our little heart we've just done. So I want to stitch this row of 3 to that row of 3, wrong sides together. So just pick them up and flip them like that. As if you can see the heart, you're right. If you can see fluffy seams, you're right. Okay, so don't worry too much, but just check those things out, and then you'll be okay. If you can, get your seams lined up, but I can honestly say, because you've snipped into your fabric, you absolutely won't see if you've got a super duper point. Again, fabulous. Oh, let me put my stitch length up. Put it up to 2.5, something like that. And I'm just going to line up my squares. Now don't forget, this one is wonky, but I deliberately did that because I want to assure you. Now look, when you come to your seam, I don't want you to get het up about it. I just want you to go over it. And it doesn't matter how it turns out, okay? Because it's got to be stitched whether we like it or not. So I'm just following the lines of the fabric here. Now that's a little bit out. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to fold it that way. Because it's like anything, isn't it? You cut it, press it and think, my goodness me, who cut that? So I'll have to trim that off, but that's okay. So that's the first pair done, but you know, two rows. Okay, you can see what that looks like. So now I'm going to put the third row on and then stitch them together. I'm just having a look at the back. If points had to match, I would have failed on an epic scale. So just bringing the third row together with the middle row. So we're going to stitch that together now. So don't forget, with mine, I have already snipped my edges to save a little bit of time, okay? So if you think I'm missing a step, it's because I've already done it. So I want you to just remember that. But we have got some snipping to do, but not just at the moment. But if you're stitching along, you'll have needed to have snipped all your seams. Now that third line is now attached, so let's just show you what that looks like. There you go. Let's get it in the middle a bit. So it's on the bottom there. So I think this is interesting, right? I mean, you can see that that's way over and out somehow, who knows. But those seams on the first row are so not nested, but can you really tell? I don't think you can because of the nature of it. So this is a lovely project for those people that are absolutely petrified of patchwork. Oh, hello Sharon from Australia. Good morning. What time is it there, Sharon? What time would it be? About 5 in the morning? Perhaps 6? What would it be in Australia at this time? And have your clocks changed? I know our American friends, their clocks have changed. And Canada as well, probably. So I'm just going to square this up. I'm just going to cut it. That's all. I'm not going to do anything fancy. There we go. That should do it. The thing about a cushion like this, it's a raggedy cushion and nothing about it needs to be super duper. So once you stitch these 2 long seams, you're obviously going to keep it folded like that, and you're going to get your scissors and you're going to snip all the way along, okay? I mean, you could do what I've done and pre-fluff it, or you should really snip it afterwards, and that way you know that you're not going to have any holes in your seam allowances. There we go. Good. I mean, the other thing you can do, we're going to add the wadding now. The other thing you could do, of course, is to add the wadding, and then you could quilt each square, something like that, and then you know it's going to be really strong, because this really will get a lot of cuddles. Oh, 6:30 a.m. Oh, and your clock's changed at the end of October. Oh, same as us then. Same as us. Where can we buy the scissors, Angela? Well, actually, I think I've got 1 or 2 on my Amazon shop. And now my, excuse me, my Amazon shop is in the pattern, or it's right. Excuse me, I've got fluff in my throat. It's on the bottom of the home page of my website. Right, so I'm just going to, I'm using my stick and spray. You can use 505. I just happen to have this from a previous life. So I'm using my spray temporary adhesive. So again, like I say, if you want to quilt this now, then please do. We want to end up roughly perhaps a 13-inch square, 12.5. Whatever your seam allowances ended up being. I don't want you to worry. What I do want you to do is square it up so it's nice and neat. But we'll do that when I've got a little crease there. There we go. So I'm just smoothing that down so it goes onto the adhesive, so it's all attached. If I turn it around, you can see how that looks. Thank you, Jackie, for putting my link on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roughly take this down, okay? But make sure you've spread your patchwork out first. Make sure that it is filling the wadding, yeah? I've got a lovely crease there. Can you see it? I'm going to pull it so that's it. I think this, because that's right at the end of the roll, so there we go. Oh, I've got a right bit of fluff in my throat. It's all this lovely furry stuff I'm using. Okay, so that's a bit more manageable now. There, lovely, looking gorgeous. And of course, by putting the wadding on, I'm not going to quilt it, but you can. But by putting the wadding on, it gives it a softer feel. If I bring the one in that I made, it gives a lovely soft feel to this, because it's on top of a cushion. And if you've got a cushion that's not a brilliant quality, you might feel the polyester, if you like, underneath. So you've got a kind of soft barrier between the cushion pad and your patchwork. So I don't think it's necessary to quilt it. It's just literally a backing. So yeah, I'm still worried about my bow. Do you know, I don't think I brought any ribbon in. Right, we'll just have to imagine bows. I don't think I've got any handy. I've got turquoise, which is a bit bright. Right, so that's that bit. The next thing we're going to do is to do the backing. Let's just make sure I'm following the pattern for you correctly. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, happy with that. Right, now, what you need is 2 pieces cut. We're going to do an envelope back. My advice is always to cut them bigger than your actual cushion. So if I do it, let's do it lengthways so you can see the whole thing. We've got 2 pieces. So eventually these will overlap like that, which gives you your, you can see, it gives you your envelope back. Now, if you're using fleece like this is like a soft fleece, truly 1 turnover is actually enough. We'll do 2 because I'm trying to be good. There's definitely a right and wrong side to this. So this is the wrong. So that'll be the wrong. It's handy if you do it like this. So we're going to stitch. Let's do it like that. This is the wrong side. So my 2 wrong sides are facing up to me. So we're just going to run it under the machine. We're going to turn over 1/4 inch again, but whatever is comfortable for your machine and you. Like I say, if you're using a fleece, once is fine because it's not going to fray. So just be happy, have what do they call it, artistic license, okay? And once we've done that, we'll sew a patch on. I've got a patch. I think I'm quite liking the idea of my patch at the moment. So let's just bring you in. Just have a look at my bear. Hi bear. Hi baby bear. Yeah. So don't forget, Friday at 7 o'clock. It is a paid event because it's for children in need. And I'll be making up baby bear. So let's pop this under the machine. Now, because we're doing quite a few layers here, I'm taking my stitch length up to 3.5. If you've just got regular fabric, just keep it at 3, be fine. Be fine. But this is, like I say, this is like a fleece. So I'm just top stitching all the way down. I'll take my pin out now. And I'm just folding as I go. Be careful not to stretch, because if you stretch it, you'll have a lovely wavy line. And this is by far the easiest way to finish off a cushion. And you could always add, you're a little bit out, aren't you really? You could always add a ribbon tie, something like that. So you mustn't worry. And the idea is, if you have a big enough fold over, it's not going to end up looking like, you know, I'm trying to think of a polite thing to say. I was going to say Grandad having too many pies and he's got his trousers of, yeah, anyway, so you can imagine. We don't want that happening on the back of our cushion, thank you very much. Yes, I was thinking more of the waistline showing. Oh my lord, I'm going to get myself into trouble with all granddads out there. Well, I wasn't going to say grandmas, was I? Crikey. So, all the way along. Don't forget, if you lengthen your stitch, it will go faster. So, if you're on your stop-start button, turn it down to medium speed or even slow. I did teach somebody some free motion, and all she'd ever used was a stop-start. So unfortunately, she had to get her foot pedal out. She'd never used it ever, which I think, wow, that's amazing. What an achievement! Right, there we are. You can see that's all I've done. Doubled it over. Probably could do with a nice press, but life's too short tonight for pressing. So what we're going to do, we're just going to have a little visual. What we need is for the right sides to be facing us again, guys. Okay, so let's just move the machine a little bit further out of the way. You're a little bit close, but I think you're going to get the gist. I want you to overlap it by, well, if we get our cushion in, that's how I'd like to see it, with a little bit of overhang, although it's not much up the top there, you can see. But I much prefer to have a little bit of overhang, but because I'm trying to be good, let's just do it a bit better than that. So let's just hold it like that. Okay, so that is just over the 3 inches. Okay, so overlap by 3 inches. Let's keep it at that. I'm going to put a pin in all the way down to hold these two pieces together so they're nice and parallel. And there's other things that we need to do as well to make sure that it stitches well. So you can see what that looks like. But what we'll do is we'll stitch a nice little patch on here. And I've just been a bit of a rogue because I've got this beautiful pink flower. And I thought, you know what? That is the flower for me. So I'm just going to cut it by hand. You know, when you do this technique of snipping into your work like we've been doing, it's so forgiving. For instance, have you even noticed we can't see that was wonky? I mean, all right, that's perhaps, you know, but that is not wonky. You can't see it because we've got this other edge making up for it. Okay, visually that looks perfectly fine. Okay, could just do with a bit more ruffling. And by the time your grandchildren or you or the dog or the cat or whoever has been sitting on it and loving it, it'll be well ruffled. So bottom right, we've got a lovely flower to put on. Let's just trim it down. Let's just chop that top leaf off a bit. Okay, so that will go sort of like that. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to snip into that as well. So look what I've done. I've folded it in half, snip into the folds so it lays flat, and then just snip. Now don't forget, with this one, this is not structural, so I'm just snipping that short side there, turn it around and snip into this short side, and these are the sides, so it's going to sit like that. And don't forget, we got to snip this bit here. In fact, I needn't have done that bit really. So again, just, you can see how much quicker it is when you double it up. Just mind your fingers. Oh, I sounded quite fierce. So when we come to snip that, we have to remember we've already got that bit snipped, because that will make a difference. Pin it, and we're going to stitch it. Now of course what you could do, if you've got some stripy fabric, well, like the one I've got on here, just a sec, like this, yeah, so this is stripy on the back of mine. Don't forget, you could get your pen and you could draw on this. You could say made on 7th of November 2022, and you could say it's a Making It Monday project if you want. You could say made for, and then whoever you made it for, me, something like, not me but you, something like that, but put some history on it, be nice. So we're going to stitch that little square on now. Okay, so let's just bring you back in, and literally we're just going to go all the way around. Now I'm going all the way around because it secures it. I've pinned it and I'm securing it now. The stitch length is still on 3.5, but I can take it down and down the sides as well. There we go. Lovely. So if I take the pins out, you can see what that looks like. Looks lovely, doesn't it? There we go. Whoops, whoop. There you go. Really pretty. So it'll be quite a little surprise, won't it, when somebody turns the cushion over, or when the kids are fighting and somebody throws it into the room. They'll say, "Oh, I didn't know it had a little pink flower on the back, Grandma." Yes, thank you. Right. Okay, so now we've got our piece prepared. You can see what it looks like. I'm just going to take you out a little bit, so excuse me while I lean in and take you out. Ooh, that will do. Lovely. So what we need to do, you've got to remember, wrong sides together. Okay? Who remembers that? And there we go, it's fleece, it all stretches out the way. So what we need to do is wrong side down, right side up. Okay, so I want you to now have a little fiddle, get all your layers sitting nicely. Okay, I don't want to see any of that front cushion. In other words, I don't see anything poking out the sides here of your front cushion. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm fairly happy with that. So flip it over. Now we can see what it looks like. That crease on that wadding is annoying me, but it'll press out. Okay, so now everything is sitting exactly how I want it to sit. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins in, not many. There's a reason. Let's just pin it down a bit. I definitely want to pin it where my two pieces, just bear with when I straighten that up. That's better. Where those two pieces sit on top of each other, I want to make sure that they stay put. So I'm just going to pin that there, and then I'm going to pin it. Can you see where that little fold is there? That's the other fold. I'm going to pin it there. So I'm holding these two pieces down. Okay, there's still a danger that you'll catch it, but if you're aware of it because you've pinned, you'll probably be fine. So again, just have a little look, make sure that your pieces are sitting nicely. Pin where your fold overs are. I want you to be very careful where you put your pins, guys, because we're going to cut this. So all my pins are a good ½ inch away from my seam. Just checking, because I absolutely don't want to blunt my rotary cutter. And now this is where I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to cut this, all these layers down. Now just be aware, if you use bigger headed pins, right, your ruler may not sit straight. So let's just do the best we can. So through all the layers, and it'll be quite tough. Don't worry if there's any wadding showing. By the time you've stitched this and fluffed it, it will look amazing. You mustn't worry about wadding showing, about stitches, about anything basically. I just want you to enjoy it because it's just lovely. But you do need a sharp blade on your rotary cutter because we're going through all those seams that we just did. And where we've got that slightly, can you see that slightly off kilter? I'm just going to square it up because we're going to see all the fabric, aren't we? We're just going to see all of the fabric. Now, doesn't that look beautiful? Really beautiful. Check the back, make sure, yeah, that is the front showing. I've just cut my flower off, look. Make sure that's all sitting nicely still. And ideally, a nice long stitch on your machine now, guys. So we're going to go up to a 3.5, 4. So let's put that back where I can look at it. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do ½ inch. So be careful of your pins again. And we're just going to go for it. This is where we don't need the guide at all. Our lovely fluorescent tape. 3/8 of an inch is fine. So if you don't want to do ½ inch, do 3/8. Take the pin out as we come to it. Just remember now we're going to go across those seams. So just make sure that they're still sitting flat, because they will. Because they're little monkeys, they will flip back. There we go. Take the pin out. If you're at all worried, get your stiletto and guide your fabric through. Use your walking foot. Use your walking foot. Just keep an eye on those seams. And this is really when you're going to want to have a sharp pair of scissors. Oh, and a full bobbin. Yeah. I was playing bobbin roulette. I forgot to tell you about that. So I better change my let's cut the thread. Just wind a bobbin. Talk amongst yourselves. But this is a fairly easy machine to thread. Now listen, do you always put your thread through the hole? Because you should. And I always do. I didn't always used to, but I do now. So hands up, who does that? Threads through the hole. I just set it away a bit. And then I cut my thread. So there's no funny ends in my machine. I always hold the thread as well. This is all habit of 60 years of stitching. So I always hold my thread. I make my own tensions, guys. Let's just give it a whiz. That will do, just for us. Snip. Don't forget, it's usually a letter P. Ooh. Try and get it the right way around. Try and hold on to it as best you can. It's supposed to lock it, you know, when you open up the little lever, it's supposed to lock it in place. It doesn't always. So I'll just rethread my machine. Won't take long, guys. Won't take long. This is a good lesson in patience. I think we had 1.5 sides to go. But I was playing bobbin roulette, and I did look at it before we went live. I did look at it and I thought, not sure. Well, I am now, aren't I? So let's see if we can thread. Now I always bring the thread up, even if it's a super duper machine, whatever the case, I always pretty much bring the threads up. Again, 60 years of stitching. Right, let's carry on. Little interlude there. Sure you enjoyed it. Went and made yourself a cup of tea. So who watched I'm a Celebrity last night? I must admit I don't ever watch it. I can't bear it, but I'm interested if you do. You know, I support you in what you like. No judge. Using my stiletto again, can you see? Just helping all those layers through. Taking my pins out. Yes, I don't know if, because my local MP is Matt Hancock, so I don't know if he's made an appearance yet, has he? I do worry. Well, he's been suspended now, isn't he? Oops. I don't think he expected that. So let's now, again, we're coming to the sort of what we are at the top. Now, I want you to watch those seams again. You know what I'm talking about? These seams here, the ones where we've folded over, I want you to watch it. Because they will, because they're naughty, they will fold back on you and then you'll have to unpick. Right, here we go. I'm going to use my stiletto again. Just to push that fabric through. Use your walking foot. I've got a walking foot for this, but you know, it's a case of do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so now we've got, let me just hold that up so you can see. So I've gone all the way around, okay, and if we look at the back, we take the pins out. Pity about the flower. I should have repositioned it differently, but there's the back, okay, like that. Okay, you can see that looks perfectly fine. I've got a few threads, but by the time you've cut into this, you won't see the threads will either be cut or they'll be. I wonder if I should use my big scissors for this. Not sure. Or my crunchy ones. I'll use my crunchy ones. Yes, you'll probably cut your threads off as you go around. Now these are about 1/4 inch apart. Okay, you can make them smaller if you want, but because we've got a nice deep 1/2 inch, they will fluff up nicely anyway. So what we're doing is we've actually got the front piece of patchwork, the back piece of, perhaps for you as well as me, fleece. You've got a layer of wadding as well. In some places we've got all the layers of the fold over, you know, the envelope back. So you've got quite a lot going on. So bear that in mind. This is why you need a really sharp, real snippy pair. You can hear it. You can hear it crunching through the fabrics. And you might find it quite tricky when you come to the seams, like here, there's a seam just there. of your fold over, skip it. Let's go over the top. Perhaps snip the top, but don't perhaps worry about the seam because it is quite thick. You'll also find if you have any form of dexterity problems, this is hard work. I'm not going to pretty it up. It is hard work, and if you find that to be the case, then find a friend. I'm sure you've got one lurking somewhere in the depths, or even the other half. You can tell them it's something to do with engineering, and that way they might pay attention and help you. Well, if it was John, and I'd say, well, it's a technical challenge for me, John, he would say, well, let me have a look then, and he could be the hero of the hour, couldn't he? But these are a good 1/4 inch apart, so it won't take too long to get round. We've just got one seam to go. Don't worry about snipping any of the other, like where the seam is, just do it. If you start getting too precise about it, well, it just becomes a chore then, doesn't it, I think? Just be careful you don't snip off your corners. Just be aware of where you're cutting, and take off your threads if you find any. That's where we changed our bobbin. So just keep on going round. We're nearly there. If you do happen to snip the stitches, if you do happen to snip a stitch as you're going along, then just run it under the machine again. Let me start from this end. Not that it makes a jot of difference, but this, I can assure you, is hard on your wrist, on your hand, on your shoulder. Okay, so do a little bit at a time. I'd be surprised if anybody could keep up with me tonight, and I don't make any apologies for that, otherwise we couldn't have done this in the hour, because there's a lot of snipping. There we go. So that's all done. That's all done. So all you need to do is give it a lovely ruffle, and rough it up basically. Like I say, it would benefit from a hot wash. So we've got a pillow, we've got a cushion pad here. So let's see. Let's pop the cushion in. So a nice 12-inch pad is absolutely perfect because you want it to be snuggly. You don't want any bits without any cushion pad in. Make sure that the corners go right in the corner. Push it down. Just pull that corner in, right into the corner. Push it out. There we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot to say, don't forget to put your ribbon on. I didn't have it, so I didn't do it. But when you stitched your heart, machine stitch your ribbon on. If mind you, with the flower there, I'm not sure I'd want it anyway. But you could always hand stitch it on now, couldn't you? But I quite like the heart on this one just on its own, and just give it a nice fluff up. Absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So there we are. That is another Frosty. Did you used to have Frosties when you were a kid? I have to admit, if I was feeling really wanting to treat myself, a bowl of Frosties with ice cold semi-skim milk, there's actually nothing better in life, is there? So there we are. You've got another lovely Frosty. So cute. Honest to goodness, I wish you could feel the cushion, because you've got the softness of the flannelette, you've got the softness of the fleece on the back, you've got the squidginess of the cushion, and yeah. I wonder if I actually could go in the motorhome, I think. I don't, you can't see this, but I am absolutely, I've got dust flying everywhere in my room, so no wonder I'm coughing. It's from the fleece, I think. So there we are. So yeah, fits lovely on the back. You see my little patch? Where? Little there. I quite like that. Give that a squidge as well. Everything should be squidged. So we've got two now. We've got one at the back. this one here, Frosty. So there we are, we're dead on 8 o'clock. It couldn't get any better, could it? So for £1, an absolute bargain, because A, you're supporting a small business, me and Kath and Jackie, well, all the team really. And also you're getting a really decent pattern with fantastic pictures, and you're getting this Facebook Live as well to help you make it. So it's absolutely worth every single penny, isn't it, of your hard-earned cash. Now, don't forget, I am live here on Friday at 7 o'clock. You need to go to the event, so stay on this page, look for the event on your device. I don't know where it will be, but there is always little drop downs and little bars and little dots. Give them a click, find the event. I think I reposted it a couple of days ago, so you could also look down my feed to find it and join up. I think it's £2.99, and we'll stitch. We're going to stitch baby bear, December baby bear. There we are. Now, the reason why I've got a plethora, because these are different sizes, look. The reason why I've got a plethora of 12-inch cushion pads is because I bought 4 to fill the bear cushions that our Gemma made. And when I ordered them, they're in centimetres. I mean, who the heck knows what a centimetre is? I certainly don't. Anyway, when they came, they should have been 14 inches for Baby Bear and Fireworks Bear, etc. But of course they were 12. So that's why we've had a little glut of 12-inch size cushions. Anyway, I hope you love making it. For the Goldies, I will be live in the group on Thursday evening. Do sign up. It's amazing what you get. Value for money is incredible. And if you don't want to sign up, that's fine. Sign up for Friday instead. And if not, you'll see Kath next Monday. And Kath's got a wonderful project for you. I don't know which one of our Cold and Frosty names she's done for next Monday, because we chose all the names a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, I'll see you all either Thursday if you're a Goldie, Friday if you want to stitch along with me with Baby Bear, or, well, sometime next week. Have a lovely evening. I hope you make one of these, and let me see lots of pictures in the Making It Monday group. Night, everybody. Night.